Financial Fridays as part of the Uncensored Credit Score Show, and we are going to be answering all of your credit and financial related questions here on the show. So let's get started. Welcome everybody to the Uncensored Credit Score Show with your host Tony Budri and Shiva, Bhaskar, mortgage loan originator, consumer rights attorney, and we combine forces to answer all your credit and finance related questions here on the show by you texting us. So we are here to answer your questions, and I am very excited to be here with you this Friday on another episode of Financial Fridays.
Yes, thank you for joining us. Definitely excited to answer some of your questions and hopefully shed some real light on this whole mystery of credit scores. And the first question is actually for Tony. Are FICO scores used for all lending decisions? What can you tell us about that, Tony?
Okay. Are FICO scores, specifically FICO scores, used in all financial decisions? I think I can answer this question for you. Now, I do a lot of my credit pulling on the mortgage side of finance, right? So specifically when it comes to mortgage originating, possibly I would say arguably between 90 to 100%, if not all that is, right? But up to 90%, 9 out of 10 mortgage loan providers, whether you're getting an FHA loan or an investment loan and everything in between, we are more comfortable using FICO scores. 9 out of 10 times, especially within the mortgage world, we have been entrusted to trust the FICO algorithm to be more accurate predictor than Vantage or any other scoring model out there. So are they all, use the FICO? I would say pretty much, to kind of answer your question. So yes, especially when you're tracking your credit scores, make sure that you really focus your efforts on building your FICO score. I know a lot of our clients and a lot of people, are members of Credit Karma, and Credit Karma kind of gave a lot of people some value by giving them an inside look into their credit reports. But where they kind of created a lot of confusion is when they provided free scores, not really revealing to folks that these are actually in fact Vantage scores, not FICO scores. So I just want to make sure that I clarify that point to you guys. So your actual scores, when the time comes for you to buy a home, do not trust and do not base your decision on what Credit Karma is showing you, because your Vantage score tend to be higher than your actual FICO score. So yes, most financial decisions are made using the FICO score. So yes, there are companies out there, and Shiva has made many recommendations, like Discover. They provide
Discover Credit Scorecard,
right?
Even Experian.com. Experian.com will give you a free FICO 8 score. So FICO 8 is one of the more recent versions. Right. It's not used for mortgages or auto loans, but it is relatively representative. So FICO 8 with Experian. TransUnion and Equifax are a little bit trickier to get a free FICO score with. If you really have concerns, I would recommend anyone who's buying a home goes to myfico.com.
Absolutely.
Pay the $29, considering a house costs a lot more than that, right? And know where your scores are, because there's no point showing up at a mortgage lender's office or contacting a realtor who's going to make you get a pre-approval letter and then not having your credit in order. Really know where it is. so that you can have things ready to go. And if your score is not where you want it to be, you can work on it appropriately so that you can get it in order. Because way too many folks, unfortunately, are taking those Credit Karma scores and showing up and submitting mortgage apps online or contacting a mortgage loan officer they know, and then they're being disappointed by learning that, okay, those collections you paid really still do count against you for FICO, and your score's not where you thought it was. So yeah, a lot of free resources, guys. Make use of those and keep an eye on your FICO scores for sure.
All right, thank you, Shiv.
Yeah,
you know, I got a good question for us. I think you're better suited to answer this particular question. And the question goes like this. It says, are there any negative credit items that cannot be removed from credit reports? Any negative items?
Great question. So, as we've discussed elsewhere, the main law that controls credit reporting is the Fair Credit Reporting Act.
Right.
And the FCRA, as we affectionately call it, says a lot of things. But when it comes specifically to credit reports, it says the information on your reports needs to meet 4 requirements. It needs to be accurate, complete, verifiable, and timely. Accurate means that not only does an account belong to you, but all aspects of it are reported correctly. Date open, date closed, amount owed, date of last activity, all that stuff you see on the credit report, okay? Credit Karma, those don't give it to you so much, but if you look at an official credit report, like one of the ones from Annual Credit Report or even from your mortgage lender, you'll see a lot of those details. So all of those things have to be correct. Complete means they can't just say, hey, John paid 30 days late in February and 60 days late in March, and they can't just leave out all the months you paid on time, okay? The information needs to be complete, all available data needs to be reflected. Verifiable means there's proof of what's on the credit report, okay? So if they say that you have a collection where you owe $253 because of a doctor's visit, there needs to be proof both that you owed the original debt, you know, with the doctor, and that whatever collection fees were tacked on are legal. There needs to be proof of all that, so verifiable. And the last one is timely, which is we see a lot, right? So, except for some bankruptcies, most items cannot stay on the credit report for longer than 7 to 7.5 years. So like, let's say you didn't pay your credit card, okay? It can't stay on for more than 7 years and 180 days. Late payments can't stay for more than 7 years. So those are 4 requirements, right?
That is a very powerful statement. I want you to say that again.
Sure.
Yeah, besides bankruptcies.
Besides bankruptcies, almost all credit items can only stay for 7 to 7.5 years. So if you did nothing else, and we don't recommend this because you'll be suffering with bad credit for quite a while, okay? Everything negative will fall off except for bankruptcies within 7 to 7.5 years. So if you had a late payment 6.5 years ago, it'll fall off in 7 years. If you didn't pay a credit card in 2015, at some point in 2022, it's going to fall off the reports. The point is that nothing can be older than that. If it is, that is grounds to dispute it and possibly grounds for a lawsuit. It's not corrected. So accurate, complete, verifiable, and timely, meaning not out of date. Those are the requirements. So what negative items cannot be removed? Simple. Any item that meets all of those requirements. I'll give you an example, okay? Because a lot of people ask us, can you remove this negative item? And the answer is maybe. It's always maybe. The only thing that's really going to remove it is the law, meaning it doesn't meet legal requirements. If you have a collection on there and it's accurate, it belongs to you, they have proof of the amount owed, the collection fees provided for are in the contract, all those things, they have all the documentation, your signature, okay? So it's accurate, complete, and verifiable, and let's say it's only 2 years old, so it's timely, then there's no requirement to remove it. Maybe you can work something out with the collector and try to get something going, but legally there's no obligation, okay? So anyone who tells you we can remove all negative items, run away. It's not the case. The law never provides for that. Because something is negative does not mean you're guaranteed to have it removed. In fact, the purpose of credit reports is to show all your credit history. So if there are negative things, it's perfectly legal for it to appear. The good news, however, is as we know, there's a lot of inaccuracies on credit reports. There's a lot of outdated stuff. There's a lot of times where the credit card companies and the debt collectors and the student loan guys don't have all the proof.
Yes.
You can use all those things to your advantage to remove quite a few negative things and make sure your credit report is as accurate as possible. But no, if something meets all legal requirements, and yeah, some accounts do, then yeah, you can't have it removed. And whenever we encounter one of those situations, we like to let the client know immediately and come up with other strategies to build credit. So worst case scenario, if you have some of those items on your credit that are legally allowed to remain there, you shouldn't worry too much because there are definitely ways to improve your score. Yes, it's damaging you, but there's absolutely hope to still get the score up. So don't, try to deal with it, be proactive, but don't overstress. If an item meets all legal requirements, that just means you need to find another path to improve your score.
Well said. Well
Thank
said. I learned something extra today. So with that being said, we are going to conclude our episode for this Friday, and we are always taking questions from you guys. So stay tuned and tune into our next episode, where we're going to answer your questions here live on the podcast. With that being said, I'm Tony Budri, and this is Shiva Bhaskar. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you for joining. We'll see you soon.